Hey everyone, welcome in for another episode of our high-level masterclasses. So, in case if you are new to the world of high level, we do a ton of virtual events and we have different formats. We have our 2, 3 day workshops, we have the 1 hour masterclass, we have podcasting, we have in-person events, we have challenges, we have a lot of cool things happening. What I love about these master classes is that we bring in some top level experts that will come and teach something very, very tangible, very, very applicable to your business for about 45 minutes to an hour. If you don't know who Michael is someone I've got a lot of respect for. He's been in our community for, oh man, I want to say over 4 years or more now, and he's very active at our conferences. Let me read out a fancy bio here that I our team put together for Michael. Michael Reimer is the founder of CRM Pros and is a best-selling author of Start an AI Agency. I saw the cover of this book not too long ago on my newsfeed myself. He's a high-level agency owner and a frequent contributor to the high-level ecosystem where he focuses on designing practical automations that help growing companies streamline operations and scale efficiently. Michael specializes in translating complex business workflows into reliable, easy to manage systems that drive measurable results. Now, I think ChatGPT did a great job putting together some notes for us to get this ball rolling here, Michael. First of all, thanks for saying yes to us, man.
No, anytime. It's always a pleasure to contribute to the community. I love it. So it's my pleasure, really.
And little bit I know about you, you were a firefighter for many years, weren't you? And you jumped into the digital marketing world after a fantastic career as a firefighter.
Yeah, I've owned a few businesses. I was a firefighter. I got hired at the age of 18. I did 30 years on the fire department. So at 48, they kick you to the curb and sat home. And I thought I was going to go fishing every day. But when it's time to go fishing, all your friends that say they want to go fishing, they're never available. So I was looking for something to do. I opened up a marine company and we service mega yachts for most of those celebrities in South Florida. I really love what I do here. Honestly, this is my passion. I enjoy it more than anything. So I just recently gave my business to my employees and now I do this full time.
I love it. Well, it's a long way coming with a lot of different experiences that you put together. Every single time you start a new business or get into a new venture, you're taking all that experience and operational, just like, acumen and applying it and making it better and better every single time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of my strong suits, honestly, Paulson, is that, I have real world business experience. I built three seven-figure businesses. This is my third. And honestly, I've learned, AI wasn't available back then. Some of this technology obviously wasn't available back then. I mean, I've been around a little while. So for me to take those experiences before any of this technology was available and now apply it to this technology is a lifesaver. And I think I could really help other people. And like I mentioned to you before, and I think you know this, I'm totally motivated by helping other people. That's what money is not a great motivator for me. My motivation comes from helping others, and I want to see them succeed, and I'll do everything possible to make sure that happens.
I love it. I know you guys have a lot of in-person events, online stuff, community, a lot of stuff happening around what we're going to teach today. So, Michael, from what I know, you're going to teach systems around scaling a sales component to the business, right? Like I think that's one of your strong suits is sales.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty unusual. I'm very techie. I mean, I've been techie since I was a young kid. I mean, I've been through it all. Everything growing up. I've been entrenched in technology. I just love it. It just motivates me, and I think it motivates me because it's always a moving target. But I'm very different. I know the tech side, but I also know from running a business, I know the sales side. So that to me is a huge advantage. So I can speak from the tech side. I can build it, but I've analyzed up one side and down the other on how to actually sell it. So that is the good thing. And I've done this by trial and error. I've failed, and I'm taking my failures and turning them into positive, and I'm going to share that with others.
Yeah, I love it. So those of you that are watching this live, well, first of all, thanks for coming and joining us. Tell us what city and state you're in. That way, it allows us to, get you plugged into the communities in those cities. We have hangouts. Michael has his own events with his partners and things like that. There's a place to get plugged in the world of entrepreneurship at high level. Now, more importantly, Michael, I hear this concept that either you're good at the operations or you're good at the sales, right? It's almost like you're only going to be good at one or the other. Is that can you bust this myth for us real quick? Because you seem
I
like someone
mean,
who cracked the code on both sides.
yeah, like I said, I think I got involved in business when you had to be a salesman by yourself. You didn't have all this technology to assist you. So I'm good at talking to the clients. I'm really good at it. I'm good at doing the tech because I've grown up around tech, and that's been my life. I really enjoy it. That's kind of like started out as a hobby, but really took off as a business. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I've seen that a lot. Everybody that I come in contact with, some people say, "Listen, I just want to build it. I don't want to talk to people." That's fine. Then I've had other people like, I just want to sell it, and I don't want to build it. I don't want to be involved in the trenches making all this stuff happen. I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could just get those two people together and like have like a dating site where you have builders and sellers and you blend them together? So, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about that today, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's very rare to find someone that can build it and knows the AI side of the house as well, for
I
sure.
love it. So, what is today's masterclass about? I know you're going to share your slides and a whole lot of research and development you guys did that you're going to put in together like 45 minutes long. We're not going to jam pack everything, but we're going to make sure some of the relevant things are going to be provided today. And also, we're going to have a snapshot for everyone as well afterwards that's made available to you. But Michael, what is today's masterclass about?
So I'm going to go over how I failed so you don't have to fail. And you could take the shortcut of my 3.5 years trying to figure this AI piece out and why people are apprehensive about buying it and how to overcome that and really do a great job. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today goes against the grain of a lot of others in this community, but that's fine. I know it works because I've done it firsthand. And anything I talk about here today, I've done it firsthand. And it's through my failure that everyone here watching is going to benefit.
I love it. So if you want to share your screen, I'll make sure it shows up on our stream here, and we'll go from there. How many, as he's pulling that up, how many of you are interested in the AI business that are watching? Like, is that something that you're like excited about? Do you feel like sales is something that you've got figured out, or are you more of an operations person where you're like, you know what, Paulson, like, I got the operations and the whole system down, but I have a hard time selling. Which bucket of boat or whatever side of the coin are you on? I would love to kind of know who's on which side. I personally, Michael, I always loved the sales side as a previous agency owner, and I've always found partners that would help me fulfill. That was just kind of my, superpower at the time, But I think in today's world, the customers are very educated. You have to be somewhat of an operational, sommelier to survive. You can't just blindly go sell anymore. Those days are past us.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% factual, and I think, obviously I'm been one, I like to take things a little bit different approach. I'm going for trust first, especially when we're dealing with AI. I mean, a lot of these business owners are very apprehensive. Maybe they're old school. You're going to come across that. You're going to come across small business owners that they're not very tech savvy. That's another hurdle that you have to, overcome, obviously. They're going to be very apprehensive, and also, you're going to be dealing with potentially large clients. We'll talk about both small, lower ticket and higher ticket sales in the same, arena, and their approach totally different. So we're going to go over that. So there's room to sell what I'm going to talk about, low ticket as well as high ticket, without changing anything of the related to the products, which is very, unusual.
I love it. Let's get started then.
Okay. So, really quick overview. So let's talk about, how to position yourself as the proper salesperson when you're selling AI products to your customer. Number one, I'm positioning myself as a doctor, not a service provider. I'm going in there to fix a problem. So obviously, these businesses have an issue. They know that they all know in the back of their head, Paulson, that they have to do something related to AI because they're going to get left behind. They already know that. A few other key points here is just because we're in this environment, we're in this high level community, we're on Facebook in the high level group, we're exposed to a lot of AI related technology. Most business owners are not. So you have to embrace that. They don't know. You're going to think like, oh, these people already know all this. They don't know this. So there's thousands and thousands and millions of customers out there at your disposal. That's for sure.
So it's normal to feel like it's saturated because we're just in the conversations every day.
Yeah, you think it's saturated, but it's not saturated. Trust me. I mean, we're at the beginning of this frontier that's going to last a few more years because in a few years, people are going to have to implement this technology. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because AI isn't replacing jobs. It's really not, but it's compressing time. It's a time compressor in my eyes. So what used to take me 8 hours, now it takes me 3.5 hours. So I have all this extra time. What do I do with it? I repurpose it into something in my business that could be more effective. Maybe it's implementing more, better customer journey, better customer service, different programs, whatever it is. There's a lot that business owners can do. And the reason I know this to be factual, I was the worst at following up with customers, the worst. I mean, we would have high ticket customers come in, we'd work on their mega yacht. And the next time we would talk to them would be if they walked in the door to get service again. We would never talk to them. And you know what? Maybe that would be a year and it could be 2 years. And they would call and be like, oh, yeah, it's been a while. I look up, I'm like, oh, man, we haven't talked to you in 2 years. We didn't even notice. Now those days are over. I mean, we have technology at our fingertips, even built into the platform, where you can follow up automatically. You could be on top of your game. You can keep your customers engaged, and you can do a great job for your business and your customers alike. That's huge.
I love that because times have changed. The fortune is in the follow-up.
Yeah, that's a fact. The other thing is too is you want to grab higher. It's in the slide. You want to grab high value clients. These clients are not disposable. I come across a lot of business owners today, and I mean you're probably going to get a chuckle out of this, but basically, I have businesses that are running ads because they want to grab clients, and I say, well, what about the ones you already have? Like you're not doing anything with those. You have a list of 6,000 people on your list or 10,000 or 20,000 people that you're not even keeping in contact with. So what are we going to do? We're going to run ads and then they're going to treat them as disposable, kick them to the curb and get new ones and kick them to the curb. And you're in a cycle. Why don't you keep the best clients? You already have them. They trust you. They've already paid you for a service. Those are the easy pickings, and add to that client base by running ads. Don't run a cycle where you're having churn of clients constantly. So that is a big deal. And that's a sustainable business model for long-term success without a doubt. So yeah, that's key. So basically, what I know to be factual is I consider the AI systems that High Level has built into the platform. First of all, I think that the development team has done one heck of a job. And if you look where they started 2 years ago to where they are today, it's like leaps and bounds. It's night and day. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago when they first released the Voice AI product. Remember, you couldn't even book to a calendar. Now we're booking to 50 calendars. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know of
yeah.
a voice system or platform that can do that. Use an AI router, and basically you're booking to 50 different calendars. If you have a salon, or if you have a mechanical business, or you have where you have technicians that need to be booked on individual calendars, that's huge. So these guys are working behind the scenes to get these tools ramped up for you. But the key is what I like to see from people listening, and this is huge, mix up your clientele. I don't want all my eggs in one basket. I don't want a $20,000 a month client and I only have one or two. I would rather have some high ticket, some in the middle of the road, and some low ticket clients because What happens if you wake up one day and you say, this person says, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this business, or I sold it, or they went a different direction, and now you've just lost 100% of your income, or even potentially 50. I don't want to see that to happen to anyone. So I would suggest what I'm going to talk about here is like diversify that client base. So obviously, I'd rather have high ticket clients. Everybody would, but I want a little bit of a mix. I think that's huge. And then keep the better clients. Once you start growing your business, maybe it's time to, like, if some of them are super super troublesome, you could either make a decision to keep them or potentially let them go. That's up to you. But that's how you want to grow your business. Now, a little bit about what we're going to talk about. Like I said, the system that I'm going to talk about, you can do this for low ticket. When I say low ticket, just so we're all on the same page, you know $1,250 setup to $1,500 setup and $497 a month, I would consider that low ticket. Now I can sell the same exact system and I can sell it at $10,000 setup and $5,000. But if it's the same product, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is the customer avatar. And I'm going to share that in the assets with everybody. Like, how do I determine if this is a $10,000 person or a $10,000 client? We have developed an avatar to do just that. And I've repeated it over and over and over. So I will share that in the group, not a problem. Now, first thing we're going to do is how I like to sell this. We have to gain trust, number one. So I like to go in and position myself as an expert. I'm going to go in there and say, I'm going to fix this problem that you have. And I have to be able to explain that problem to the client like better than them. So then they already say in their back of their head, this guy gets it. He gets what I'm going through. And that's the key. That's where you have to do a little bit of research. The other fallacy that I'm going to break barriers down here, people may say in the chat, I'd love to see it, is you have to niche down. What I'm going to show you, you don't have to niche down. You could go for it. Okay. And then the one other thing that I really want to touch on here, because we started off with this, Paulson, is some people are salespeople, right? Some people are builders, and it would be great if we had it all together. But like, say you're a builder, right? There's a place for you at the table, because I never in my wildest dreams think I would ever be working for another agency owner in HighLevel. Because in my marine business, I'm a local business, so everyone was my competitor. But in HighLevel, it's totally different. They're not your competitor because there's so many clients. In my marine business, I wouldn't be dealing with people in the UK. I wouldn't be dealing with people in Australia. I wouldn't be dealing with people, all over the world. I'm dealing with a local business. In HighLevel, it's out there. You got plenty of opportunities. Some of those opportunities that we do, we fulfill for other agencies. So if you're a builder, maybe that's what you do. You become a fulfiller. So now you're helping other agencies rather than selling. Let them sell for you because they don't want to build it, and you're the guy behind the scenes to do that. Now, my mistake, which I'll go over, plain as day right here. When I first started doing that, I was doing it for a fee. So I would say, hey, listen, I'm going to build this out for you. I'm going to charge you a fee. But listen, the builder also needs MMR too, right? We love MMR because, I'm not starting at zero every month. So I've repositioned that, and I say now I'm going to take a percentage of the setup, whatever you feel is fair, and then we're going to take a percentage of the monthly as well to keep it up and running because I'm responsible for that. So it works out for both the seller and the builder. And that's a huge thing. And I learned the hard way on that. We've changed the way we do it, and I hope that helps other people. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think people don't when a lot of people start out in digital marketing, they do the project based billing, right? They'll say, I have this big project. I'll, based on the hours that I'm spending, I'll charge you XYZ. Then they mature up and they're like, okay, it makes more sense to do a retainer. And then eventually they graduate into like a subscription model, right? That's just every business at some point goes towards subscription and then hardware, right? Like that's the transition of all businesses, if you ask me, right? Because even car manufacturer are they're charging $19 for heated seats. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, you know? So, but the business model is something that we all have to take notice on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game changer. So if you're a builder and that's what you want to do, I mean, I would think about pricing it like that. And there's plenty of agencies that would really rely on you if you do a great job. That's for sure. So what I like to do when I'm selling these products is I first of all started to try to sell voice agents, because that was my expertise. I said, listen, you know what? I'm going to be the voice agent guy and I'm going to crush it. I'm going to sell voice agents. Guess what? It's very, very difficult to sell a voice agent. Why? Because number one, small business owners don't want to give up their telephone number. It's like, if I had to give it an analogy, it's like you have a 16-year-old kid at your house and you say, hey, my phone died. Can I borrow your cell phone? They don't even want to let you get near that cell phone. So it's the same thing with a business owner. That's their method of income. That's their safety net. And they don't want to give it up to anyone because they are afraid that if you screw this up, you're going to cost them sales or whatever. So that's I understand that. So what I try to do is a little bit different approach. Number one, we go in and do a business audit. And I do a business audit around 4 specific areas, and they're all done at HighLevel. Number one, I do an audit to see how in touch they are with their client base. When was the last time they touched their client base or talked to them or reached out to them? Some, it may be great. Others, it may not. Well, what does that number one thing count towards? Well, that would be a database reactivation in HighLevel. Easy to deploy, super simple, AI-driven database reactivation. I'll share that in the snapshot. The next thing would be on that audit would be reputation management. So how great are they at doing reputation management? Are they responding to reviews? Responding to reviews is huge because 48% of the people will do business with somebody that responds to reviews. So that's huge. The other thing is if you can bring up their star rating by 1, that's about on average, I'll quote statistics. I'll back that up with, I have a statistics sheet that I'll share in the material as well. But basically, if you can bring them up on average 1-star rating, that's an extra 15,000 impressions on your average small business website per month. That's huge. So those are some things to think about. So the first 2 things is driving up revenue, and then we'll get into the voice agent. Okay. The other thing I didn't really talk about reputation management is that HighLevel has come out with some amazing features, right? So we actively in 2 seconds and respond to all the reviews that have previously been posted. Super simple to set up. We could put them in a workflow that gets triggered that every time somebody pays or they have a client visit, they're going to get a review request. So you're going to start driving reviews. Easy. But what about this? No one really thinks about it. No one talks about it. It's built into HighLevel. It's an overlooked feature. You're gonna post those 5-star reviews to all of their social profiles automatically. Huge. All right, that's awesome. And then lastly, widget on the website. So they're getting posted to their website automatically. Another big impact, super simple to set up. This is not hard. And then the last thing, which we've just introduced, is what about video testimonials? I want those video testimonials. Those things are massive in return. So we've incorporated the video testimonials into the system as well. So that's number 2. Then number 3 is the voice agent. Okay, and here's where you guys are going to run into trouble. So some people are going to say, oh, I don't need the voice agent. I don't like AI. I have a full-time receptionist. I've heard that every time, various variations of that. Now, keep in mind that, can you hear me, Paulson? It's like a lot of
Yep.
background noise, right? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. I know you're traveling, so we can
Yeah.
hear you.
All right, no problem. So basically, voice agent, they're going to say, hey, I have a full-time receptionist. First thing you do is you're going to ask them to see their call records. I just did one for a podiatrist. He had a full-time receptionist still missing 45% of his calls based on his own call records. That's what we
Wow.
do with the audit. He was begging us to put this in play, begging us. Then you're going to have other people that, basically they are very leery of the technology itself. They think AI, it doesn't sound great. People don't care what it sounds like. People want it to handle an issue and they want on and phone as quickly as possible. That's what they want. So the huge thing here is that if I meet any resistance at all, I just say, hey, listen, let's just flip this switch in HighLevel that answers the call when you don't get it. Who's going to say no to that? Either don't answer it, or this voice agent's going to pick up on nights, weekends, holidays,
Yeah.
and after hours, all that. You're going to already increase 66% coverage just by doing that. So you have the opportunity to book appointments on nights, weekends, and holidays. So that's an easy way to get in. And once they develop trust, you can turn it on 24/7 a lot of the time.
Okay.
So that's something to think about. Then the last one is conversational AI. When I say conversational AI to people, people think chatbot on website. That's what they're funneled, their tunnel vision into chatbot on website. Well, chatbot on website is important, and it can book to calendars and book appointments as well, and handle a lot of FAQs and such. That's awesome. But what about responding to all your social profiles? Because everyone here is quick to post, but they're not quick to respond. So if we can set that up and you're grabbing leads that would normally fall off the plate and get them onto the calendar and book those appointments while you're sleeping, or the client is sleeping, that is huge. So those are the 4 things that I really focus on when I sell this. And then there's one optional, is if their website needs to be adjusted because maybe they don't have one. I've met people that are in business 15 years, they don't have a website. It's a digital storefront. It's almost mandatory now. So that's how people are going to judge you. And if you could be the worst heart surgeon in the world and have the best website, and you could be the best heart surgeon in the world and have a kindergartner website, at the end of the day, they're going to pick the one that their website looks polished and professional. Why? Because it looks like they have their act together, and they're going to go with that. So psychologically, that's just what happens. So I would suggest getting your client a great website. That's going to increase success for you. The other thing is, use HighLevel features to your advantage. That's where you're going to do your follow-ups. That's where you're going to do integrating forms. That's where you're going to book to the calendar page. Those are all features that are easily deployable. Everything I said here is in the platform. You don't need external tools or services. And once you develop it, you could deploy this in, I'll be lenient, 4 hours, everything. And the great news about that is you tell the customer, you give them a guarantee. You say, listen, I'm going to deploy this in 7 days, or you don't pay until it's ready to go. But you're going to be done in 4 hours. Please tip, do not deliver this in 5 hours because you're charging a setup. If you get this done in 5 hours and you're charging a $10,000 setup, they're going to be like, what the heck's going on here? So always deliver on day 6, okay? Regardless, just a little tip. So
Well, one second, what
those are,
I wanna just
go ahead.
address here is uh, these are one-time setups often as well. Like once you build it out, it's just maintenance after that, right? It's not like you're rebuilding every month.
No, so you're gonna always, what I like to do is maintenance and optimization is your MMR. That's your monthly reoccurring. So that's what you're gonna be charging for. That is gonna be your big roadblock to the client. And why? Because they treat you like a web host. Like, hey, I just did this website for you, and I'm GoDaddy, and I'm hosting your website, but I never touch it unless you ask me to. That's not the way to go about this. I tell them up front that we're handling maintenance and optimization. You have changes in your processes, I'm changing your prompts. We have changes in AI technology, I'm updating it. HighLevel makes changes, I'm updating it, maybe new features perhaps. That's what maintenance and optimization is. Now, Paulson, you hit the nail on the head, and I almost skimmed over it. Thank you for addressing it. One of the key items for them to kick you to the curb is that they're upset with the MMR number. They're never upset with the setup. Why? Because in their head, the setup is semi-custom. It's to their business. They know you're working for it. They always get upset of that secondary number, the monthly reoccurring. So what my suggestion or tip to the audience would be, position your setup high. You're getting money up front to do it. And then be reasonable with your MMR number. Be reasonable. That's where they're going to get, they're going to get a little upset and be like, okay, I can't afford this anymore. Or in their head, they're not getting value.
Yeah.
So that's the number that you have to really pay attention to. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
I love it.
So
One thing I want to also address is if you can step back for a second and tell us how do you get in front of these people in order to do that four-step audit?
that's a really great question. I mean, that is a really good question. What I've seen, number one, is people procrastinate doing what I'm about to tell you, and that's where they fail. Here's how to do it effectively. Step one, you have your own personal network. Maybe that's friends, family, church, sporting groups, however you have your network. Everyone has a network. It's a little bit different. Now, what I would like to tell everyone listening, don't go after your network and say, hey, look, I just started up an AI agency and I'm automating small businesses. Would you like to take a look at it? Because
Right.
you come across like that person's going to be like, hey, you're my friend, but no, I'm not really interested. Where you're going to spin this around and be way more effective is you're going to reach out to your network and you're going to say, hey, John, I just started up an AI agency. I'm automating small businesses. Can you recommend 6 of your friends that I can put this in front of? Because now that guy turns into a recipient of a sale to a helper of you. And that makes a huge difference in itself. That's step one. So he's going to help you land 6 people to put yourself in front of. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game. And I tell people this all the time, Paulson. If you're afraid of people saying no, you better get used to it because no is the most common answer you're going to get, but you're going to get yeses. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Just be prepared for people to say, no, I'm not interested. Don't get discouraged. Just keep moving, make
Yeah.
changes and keep moving. Now, once we do that, I recommend if you're a new agency owner, we may have a lot of new agency owners listening, get your first 4 clients, whatever you have to do, even if that involves a discount to get them. Maybe it's a half price setup, maybe you're not even charging it, but then get them on the monthly, maybe it's lower, but that's your first 4 clients. And the object of your first 4 clients is for you to learn the system. And guess what? You have a client paying you to learn the system. So that's pretty good. Um, and then you have your second tier. Maybe it's the next 10 clients or 8 clients. You start raising your numbers and start raising your numbers. Then you're going to what I call titrate to effect. So the more I mean, as the busier you get, you can't handle the capacity, the higher pricing goes. And people will still say yes. What's the craziest thing in my marine business? I was the highest priced marine guys in all of South Florida, but I was also the busiest. We never ran ads, we never do anything. So if you do a great job, even if you position yourself high, they're going to pay you because they want a lot of people want to pay for the best. And if you're the best and do what you say you're going to do, they're going to pay it. So that's huge.
Yeah. A couple
Now,
of things that I think we should unpack is one is there's no advantage to being in the middle of the pricing pack. Either you should be the lowest or the highest, like be the McDonald's or the fine dining, right? Because it's two different business models. If you're in the middle somewhere, it typically price itself is not going to be an energizer for you. Is that right?
yeah, I mean, honestly, I like to provide a quality product. And if you're going to provide a quality product, you're going to demand, fair pricing. I mean, that's just how it works. Fair, what I mean? It's fair for you and it's fair for your client because, we'll talk about pricing real quick since you brought it up. It's really critical. Like I recommend everyone when you're selling these systems, remove all pricing from your website. Don't even put it on there. Don't give them a typical car, like 3 menu, better, best, don't do that. I remove all pricing. Why do I do that? Because like, how do I get this question a lot. Like, how do I price this? Like, Mike, what do you think? How should I price this? I'm like, well, what's the client? Well, you're not going to charge a company that's a roofing contractor that's doing $120,000 average sale, the same as a young lady that's cleaning houses by herself and she needs somebody to answer the phone because she's busy. You're not going to charge them the same. And if I put that on my website, number one, I don't want the lady cleaning my house or the houses to see that pricing that's for a roofing company because she's gonna be like, oh, that's way so expensive. That's crazy. And then I don't want the roofing contractor to see that price for the house cleaning lady because they're like, I want it for that. So I don't recommend putting pricing on the website. It's all dependent on the client itself and how much they're making per year and how much their average ticket is. Now, how do we find that out? Well, my step one is I do a 10-minute discovery call with the client every time, 10 minutes. And that's not really to hash anything out. That's not to discuss pricing. That is a feeler like, okay, is this a good fit or is it not a good fit? That's the only objective of that call. And we have a process for that. I don't mind sharing that as well in the resource pack. But basically, we do these calls in order the same way every single time. Guess what? I could be in that call 3 minutes. And I already know this is not a good fit. So what do? We try to cut it short. But I never tell them, like, I'm going to tell them straight, like, hey, you're not a great fit. But you know what? I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to find somebody that would be a good fit. So I always try to follow up with them via email and say, hey, here's a solution for you that you may want to look at. They're happy. So they don't leave like, oh, you don't want to do business with me. They don't leave like that. So
Yeah.
then the second step would be, then after they say, yeah, this sounds good, I send them a proposal. Okay. And then they get a written proposal. And then we do a 1 hour discovery call after that if they like what they see. And then they do a 50% deposit. We build it out and then they pay when it's completed. And that's exactly how I do that. I have templates of the proposal and I have templates of the contract, which I will send, as a template. But obviously, you could have that reviewed by your counsel as well. So that is how I do it. That's how I price it. Like you mentioned, middle of the pack is really not a great idea, and
Yeah.
it's always a moving target.
Yeah, one of
Now,
the things that I love about what you said is that it's the flexibility as the entrepreneur, right? See, I came from the world of where my mentors had taught me, Michael, go with one industry, one offer, one type of fulfillment, and you rinse and repeat. That's what was taught in like 2013 all the way to like 2019 until COVID kind of like wiped a lot of those agencies out, including my own, right? I had a dental agency doing the same exact thing. And then as I watched the high level community develop into what it is, I realized you don't need to niche down anymore. You don't need to price yourself, unfairly. You also could niche down from a technology standpoint at best if you want. You can be the AI person, you can be the website person. So that's a different type of focus as well, instead of just saying, oh, I only work with dental practices, right? So I'm glad you said this on the flexibility of pricing. Well, that flexibility exists on niche selection, on offer
yeah,
packaging, and
I
other
mean,
areas.
you're 100% right on that too, Paulson. Like, no lie, because guess what? This system is what I consider semi-custom. You're not going to snapshot this and deploy it, and when they turn on this snapshot, it's going to work. It's not like that. Because let me give you an example. I own a pest control company. I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. I own a pest control company. I build out the pest control's voice agent as an example. A new pest control company opens a block away, same city, same street. It doesn't matter. I have two different voice agents. One wants to answer calls nights and weekend, book calls to the calendar. The other one wants to allow transfer to human. The other one wants to, upsell on the call, is an example. So they're all semi-custom. So it's going to require a little bit of work. So what I found is, yeah, that's pest control. That's great. But it's the same amount of work for me to do a roofing, to do a home remodeling company, to do a dentist, like you mentioned, or do something else, med spa, whatever. So the legwork, I don't have to talk their lingo. I could figure out their lingo in 5 minutes. The lingo is their lingo. I get it. But um, what I found is that it's super easy to go to any niche. And like you mentioned, today's it's a different world. So that's just me. I'm sure we'll maybe see in the chat, we'll see some, objections to that. That's great. I'm just telling you what's worked for me. And I've built out, over 2,000 high level voice agents to date. And I've been in probably 250 niches already.
Yeah.
So it's not that difficult. You get a template, and I'll share that with them in the snapshot pack. Is basically you're going to get a template and you modify that template for the niche, and then once you have it, you're building your own library.
I
Pretty
love
simple
it.
to do. Pretty
I
simple.
love it. So when you do this audit, how do you determine whether they qualify to work with you or not?
Okay, so the way to do the audit is a couple of ways. Number one, you get them to do the audit. You may charge for that audit. Some people do that. Some people use it as a lead-in, so it's free. And it's a combination in the middle. So it could be like, hey, listen, I'm going to charge you $200 for this audit, or 300 or 400, whatever you decide. But if you go with me, I'll just take that off your setup. That's another option. Now, what do we know? What do we how do we know how well they did or how bad they did? Well, I have a document that I developed that goes over that. So we have audit criteria. There's certain questions that we answered, and we give it a rating scale. And I'll put that in the pack as well. So they would know, like, here's your deficiencies. This is determined to give you a real concrete answer. How many calls are they missing? Are they responding to reviews? Is their Google business profile not even up and running? I mean, these are all factors in the audit. And all you're doing is pointing out areas where you can help them really quickly. And the four things that we mentioned, these are all revenue generators, and that is awesome. And the other thing that, not a lot of people really think about is this is applicable even if they're in an industry specific CRM. So maybe they're in Jobber, or maybe they're in Service Titan or whatever. I still put them in a high level account. Maybe they don't ever log into it. Maybe they do. That's fine. But I run all of these in a high level sub account, and they never potentially even log into it. It keeps it
Wow.
organized. It keeps it done, and it doesn't affect everything else. You know. So something to think
Which is
about.
brilliant, especially if they've had systems for like 10 years, they're not gonna, move over.
Yeah, I mean, most people in a industry CRM, they're not want they don't want to leave that, and I don't recommend that. It's too you hang on one second, Paulson, okay?
Yep, they're drilling over there. I can hear it.
They're jackhammering right next to me. Do you hear
Right,
it?
right when we're doing a master class. Yes, I know.
All right, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna relocate because it seems like they moved right by me, so I'm gonna relocate and we pick it right
You,
back up. Is that all
you're
right?
actually good. You're actually good. That wasn't too bad. I
Okay,
promise.
I'll just keep it going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So where were we? We were talking about
We we were
uh,
talking about how industry-related CRMs
yeah,
are not going to want to make a migration.
yeah, they're not going to want to make these. A lot of these clients are in industry related CRMs. They're not going to want to make that migration. And if you are listening and you think you're going to pull that off, it's a bad move. And it's a bad move because you're going to make less than $1 an hour, because if you're going to try to migrate these, they're very difficult to do in certain circumstances. Service Titan is a great example. So they have vehicle tracking. They do a lot of different things. So I leave them alone, and it's easier. Some of these EMRs for medical, you don't want to move them. Leave them alone.
Yeah,
The
a lot of
office
the
staff is through them.
ERPs. Yeah, a lot of the ERPs as well, right?
Yeah.
It's different than a CRM, right? Like it's its own. Imagine having to remigrate them back to the original setup they had because they want to leave you. It just
Oh
turns
my
into
God.
a mess.
No, this is what I'm telling you is so easily deployable. I mean, everybody here listening can do this. It's not hard. And the biggest thing is, like I said, just getting those first few clients, and then you're going to be on a roll. Now, I talked about earlier, get those clients from your initial network. Well, then there's phase two. You've exhausted that. Then you have to be very disciplined, and you have to reach out to 20 clients per week. That's it. Reach out to 20 per week, every single week, maybe more. Maybe you're going to be a go-getter and you have the time and effort and you're going to go for more. That's great. But minimum 20 per week. At that rate, you're going to close deals. I don't care. It's a numbers game. So most are going to say no. Some are going to say yes. The more you reach out to, the more yeses you're going to get. So don't worry about shiny objects. Don't worry about other tools. Don't worry about other voice platforms. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about other program, all this other thing. These offers that we're building are not permanent offers. You can modify them. Everything's modifiable. I see a lot of people that get involved with these with an AI offer. They're worried more about demos. I can demo this. I could set this up and deploy this in literally put in 4 hours and I'm ready to go. And all I need is a phone and a phone number. I can email them the phone number, and I don't need a fancy demo. I can have a demo that they call and talk to the AI and walks them through it. And that's all I need. I don't need crazy demos. Everyone's
Yeah.
worried about demos.
Let me
So
ask you this, Michael. Why are agency owners inside of High Level in our community finding themselves frozen and stuck with offers? Like you and I have came across some stories where they're stuck for years at a time before being able to launch. Like what's
Yeah.
happening?
I ran across a gentleman. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but basically I ran across a gentleman. I started talking to him. I'm like, "Oh, what do you do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm launching AI, I'm selling AI agents." I'm like, "Oh, that's good. How's it going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm still working on my offer." I was like, "Oh, what's your offer?" "Oh, I'm still working on it." I'm like, "Well, how long you been working on it?" He told me 8 years. I almost fell over. 8 years working on offer, 2 years full time. Now, the key is, why does this happen? I had to drop back for a minute and wow, that's crazy. And I've had other people tell me 6 years after that. So why does this happen? Why? Because they're striving for perfection. That's the reason. And they're looking for other tools, and they're procrastinating. And looking for other tools is a form of procrastination from what I found. They're not looking for a better tool. They're looking for an excuse not to launch their offer. So, basically launch it. Just launch it, and guess what? It's not permanent. You can change it on the next one. There's no harm in that. And you know what? Maybe you'll make mistakes, but guess what? If you learn from those mistakes, your mistakes are going to be few and far between, and you're going to have a better offer at the end of the day. You need to get real data, and the way to get real data is to launch it.
And
You can
and you
listen to all
will,
these other people, but get data.
yeah, and you will launch bad offers because the
Of
market
course.
you thought is not responding the same way. That's normal as a business owner. And then you
Yeah.
reinvent yourself and redo different things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly looking how I can do better. And my offer today isn't the same as 3 years ago. I can guarantee you that. It's like totally different.
Yeah.
You grow, and there's other technology. There's a lot of things that come into play.
Right.
The other thing is, like, I see brand new agency owners, they're worried about building a team, hiring VAs and everything. They don't even have a first client. I don't want to
Yeah.
see that. Launch it yourself, because you want to know, hiring a VA is not as easy as people think. It's not as easy as like picking up the phone and say, "Hey, listen, you're hired, and you're going to step right into this, and you're going to do everything exactly perfect." They're going to need guidance, and they're going to need guidance from you as an agency owner. And it's like hiring a normal employee at a normal business in the US or wherever you're from. That person's going to take a year to get trained, and you need to know the ins and outs of it to enable that person to actually do the work for you or with you. So if you're going to develop a team, learn it yourself first, get your first couple of clients, then you can start to bring on a team. Don't get a team off the get-go. All you're doing is increasing your expenses, and with little benefit. So the pros and cons are not really is not in your favor. So, and plus, you want to know what you're selling. You want to know how to troubleshoot it. You want to know the technology a little bit behind it. I'd say you have to be an expert, but get your feet wet, and get in there and learn the system, and then you'd be a better salesperson, and be able to communicate better with the client.
Absolutely. Let's keep going.
All right. So here's an example. So basically, we went in and this is a real company, didn't put the name in on purpose, but basically, they had 4.1 star ratings and 68% offer rate. So we went in and did an audit. They got 287 out of 500 points. So each opportunity found worked out to be total in this business 342,000. A missed phone call in the average small business today is in a year is 126,000 if you miss calls with small businesses. So with that said, if they don't do action, it's costing them $939 per day without even doing anything. So it's easy to sell when you get in and do the audit. That's huge. Now, the other thing is, when I'm doing these audits or I'm looking at clients, it may sound great where somebody's got, they're not doing any Google reviews. Their competitors have 4,000 reviews, and they're less than a 2 on Google reviews. Those people are not really your sweet spot. They're not worth going after. And the reason why, they've already written Google reviews off long ago. So you can
Mm,
go in there and try to sell them. They don't care about Google reviews. They don't care about any of that. It's going to take way too much time and effort to convince them that that's important. They would have already done it. What I like to go for is somebody that's like a 3.5, and they're trying to beat out their competitor, and they need work to get there. Those are the sweet spot that you're going for. And that's what actually works. So these are the pillars that we just talked about. This is huge. Again, pillar one, database reactivation. We break those customers down into three buckets: current customers, customers you lost touch with, and customers that maybe you had some type of issue. Maybe they left you a bad review. They fired you as a company. You fired them as a client. Whatever it is, I respond to them with messaging on database reactivation in high level a certain way. I like to, I don't write off bad customers. I always will fall on the sword. I tell them, listen, it's totally our fault. We really miss you. We want you back. And a lot of times that's all they want is recognition. And you'll turn a bad customer into a positive review and you're a raving fan by doing that. So that's number one. These are the low hanging fruit. You deploy this in a business, your percentage of converting them is the highest of any method out there. Existing customers spent money with you. Number two, reputation management. Huge deal. I mean, that is important. I think everyone knows how important reputation management. Use those extra widgets I spoke about earlier. High Level is amazing. 70 review platforms right now that you can respond to. Maybe you're in the legal niche, you got legal review platforms there. You're in Airbnb, you have that available as well. There's a lot. Check it out. Conversational AI and omni-channel response, meaning everyone in High Level was all happy about getting outbound calling. Outbound calling is your lowest converter for new customers. It's your lowest. No one answers these calls. I use outbound calling. There's a way to do it. That's a whole nother masterclass, Paulson. That's part B. But it's not going to be great. You're not going to be like blasting thousands and hundreds of thousands of calls and make that worth your while. You're going to spend more on AI and calling than you are getting clients to convert. So where do they convert the highest is conversational AI. SMS is like the number one converter. And if you can couple that omni-channel, well, what do I mean by omni-channel? Well, we're going to hit them with SMS. We're going to hit them with ringless voicemail. We're going to hit them with email. You're going to have almost a 400% increase in conversion. So if you hit them all three ways, huge, all done in High Level. Smart, what I consider smart websites, that's websites backed up with automations and using certain features that are in this platform. Everything I've listed here is in this platform. These are 5 features, essentially. Everyone here can learn them. You're not learning all 650. You're a brand new. I'll never forget, Paulson. I signed up for High Level. I open up High Level. I'm like, what the heck's going on? A lot of people feel overwhelmed. If you do what I'm telling you and you get 5 key features and deploy them, you'll learn the other ones. That's going to come automatically. And I'm going to put a plug in right now for one thing, and you guys didn't ask me to do it, but my saving grace to success with High Level was getting the certified admin certification. And the reason for that was, number one, there was a monetary buy-in. It's very small. It's a micro commitment, $97 to do that program, but it held me accountable. But it also, I knew I wanted to do it, and that held me accountable, but it brought me through every single system or every single section of High Level. Otherwise, I could have been, doing the same that a lot of people do. They're all over YouTube, getting great information, maybe not so great information. They're trying to figure it out on their own. Maybe they're trial and error in the platform, and then they get frustrated. If you feel frustrated and you don't get a good grasp on it, I would definitely look at the certified admin program. Do I consider myself, when I graduated that program, as a high level expert? No. Do I think I know everything there is to know about High Level? No. And I would almost venture to say, and people chuckle when I say this, High Level doesn't know everything about High Level. You know, there's so many features and so many workarounds, and people are so creative. You look in the community, like people say, "Oh, you can't do this," and they say, "Yeah, I've done this." So I know if somebody tells you they know everything about High Level, I would say run. But basically, that's what helped me, and I think that would help a lot of people listening today. If you feel overwhelmed, there's resources for you to be successful, and one of them is in the platform. Yeah, it cost me $97 a month, but it put my feet to the fire to go through those modules, which made me more versatile as far as learning the platform, and I can deliver these 5 pillars very easily
Yeah, I
after.
love that you said this because, high level, we cater to like 28 or 32 something avatars at this point. When we first started off, it was all about the lead generation marketing agency, right? Then you see SEO guys come in. Then you see videographers who have an agency come in. Then you see the social media people. Then you see the course creators. Then you see automation experts. Then you see IT companies. Then you see, I can keep going. I can keep going. Then
Yeah,
you have now you have the app builders coming in, dumping their development, and they're trying to white label it, right? So the plethora of the type of different even marketing experts alone is over 20. So yes, all in one means you don't need to use all of it. Right,
right.
it
Yeah.
just means you need to use what's relevant to you.
And what else is surprising, just to dovetail on what you just said, which is 100% spot on, is I'm amazed at the audience. And when I say the audience, all walks of life, obviously. I have 20-year-olds reach out to me that say, "Oh my God, I can't believe, thank you for your help." And I have 80-year-olds reaching out to me and, starting a business. Maybe they want to, they're bored, they're starting a business after retirement to supplement their retirement. Maybe that's the reason. Middle-aged people all day long, starting, maybe they're sick of working for a big company, they want to do something on their own. So it's really, I mean, story after story, which you hear each and every day, and that's what's really crazy, is like I can get somebody that's 20 years old to 80 years old and they all have the same interests at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, that's
It's
why I
great.
had to launch these case studies initiative, right? Because I'm like, there's so many stories. You got 19-year-olds doing $50,000 a month, and you have, you know, folks doing million a month. Like there's plethora of people. I mean, stay-at-home moms, people that are in
Yeah.
the military reserve that's doing a supplemental business. Like, I mean, there's so much of people that are just digital citizens because of high level and just the capabilities, and it's a lot of it is set in a forget it type of systems.
Yeah, I mean, this what I'm showing here is very simple to do, and there's plenty of opportunity out there for sure because every business needs this. These are the core things that apply to 99.9% of every business. These five things here. I mean, I can't think of a business that wouldn't benefit from it, and that's the key, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Let's
So,
keep going. Yep.
yeah, so basically, like I was mentioning earlier, 98% SMS open rate, higher conversion, 287% omni-channel. Average call is $250. It depends on the niche, obviously. Doctors, lawyers, you maybe $800 per missed call on average. This is just your average small business, maybe pest control or whatever that I spoke about earlier. 7% increase per star rating. And then lastly, success rate for database reactivation could be 60 to 70%. And those are accurate facts that I'll share with everybody here in this asset pack. So, but like I mentioned, and I think we've mentioned this, everything here is built into the system. I don't have to really keep going over that. You guys know this. If you're an experienced high level user, if you're brand new, no additional software. This is included in your subscription. You don't have to go anywhere else. You start out small. Maybe you're going to start out with a $97 plan. And then you get one client, you go to your $297 plan. Stay there till you get what I recommend is 8 clients or so. And then you want to start thinking about rebilling. One thing that I recommend as soon as you get into this and you're going to sell this system is don't ever tell them everything's included. Don't tell them all their AI costs are included. Even if it takes you manually to do that every month for your first few clients, do it, because once you go to a 497 plan and you're going to do rebilling, you don't want it to be a shock that all of a sudden, wait a minute, I thought everything was included. Now you're rebilling me. So set yourself up for rebilling at the second you start, and then it's not a big shock later when you grow. So that's a big important thing to keep in mind. But everything's built in. There's tons of these case studies. There's another one here. You can do a $10,000 package easily. I will share the avatar with you. That's going to be somebody that has an advertising budget. They make certain amount per year. Their business is doing certain amount per year. And they're a business that can afford it. And also, what is their ticket size? I have that all broken down in detail. So how do you deploy this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is the second I get them on, I like to do the database reactivation. This is a workflow. Once you've done this once, all you're doing is changing the messaging and hit send. And you're going to drip those out. You don't want to blast them with 10,000, you don't want to blast that out and have 10,000 responses or responses coming into 10,000 outreach, because you're going to overwhelm that small business. You want to drip these out. And the other thing is you want to show your success You want to get 5 conversions this week, 5 the next week, 5 the next week. You don't want to get 50 and then 0 or 2 and then 1. So you want to you want to drip those out. Same thing with the reputation management. You don't want to blast all the reviews and get like 20 reviews this month and then 5 and then 3. You want to get 5 each and every week or month. Okay. So then you're going to send this all out, and then you're going to continually optimize this, because this is a big deal for these businesses. You're going to get revenue coming in instantly. They're going to trust you. And guess what's going to happen after this, Paulson? That same business is going to say, hey, you did such a great job with this. Can you do XYZ? Can you build me an automation for this? Or can you build this? And you know what? That's an individual choice. We can't even really go over that here, but that's an individual choice. Some you may say yes, and others you may say no. Or maybe in between, where you say yes and you outsource it to somebody that's a specialist in that area, because maybe it's outside of your expertise. Like, I don't build websites. I have somebody that builds websites, and we
Yeah.
utilize them. So you don't have to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah. One of the most important things you said in the very beginning of the masterclass today was, well, Paulson, you got to build trust with these business owners in order to charge a certain amount. And this is a great display of how you build that trust, because eventually you'll discover different gaps in their business that easily could be, you can be charging 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, or if something long term, you can add retainers on top of subscriptions and a consulting and all kinds of different stuff, because once you get your foot in the door and you build that trust, the opportunity is endless.
Yeah, maybe they want you to run ads, major ad campaigns. I mean, but you're not an ad guy, so you're going to have a partnership with somebody that runs ads, and it's going to run through you, and that's how it's going to work. So there's a lot of opportunity. And guess what? Some of them you say, you know what, this isn't for me, regardless of the price tag.
Right.
You can get yourself into somebody offering you, big money, but at the end of the day, you're making peanuts, because it's just going to bog you down from selling your core offer. And you could deploy a lot of these systems in the time it takes you to do that one integration. So you got to weigh that out. That's an individual decision. So that is how that happens. Then the second thing is, we want to make sure we guarantee them results. So that's going to be up to you. You're going to map your own guarantee out. HighLevel doesn't guarantee anything. I don't guarantee anything. I will tell you this: I guarantee you I can deploy this in 7 days, and you don't pay until it's done. And that's an easy guarantee to back up. I don't give false hope. I don't give false claims. That's one thing that I'm very cautious about. So I would tell them, if I'm going to give a guarantee, you structure that guarantee that you can deliver 100% of the time. And I know I can deliver 100% of the time. I can deliver this system in 7 days or less, and I will put that in writing. And guess what? If I don't make it, I need an extra day, they don't pay me until I deploy it. And that is 100% factual. I would say stick with the facts. So I will have everything in this snapshot asset pack, because it's more than a snapshot. It's going to be an asset pack. I'm going to have an ROI calculator for you. I'm going to have the audit framework for you, sales scripts, all of the stuff that you need to go out and sell and deploy
Yeah.
this system.
So for those of you that are watching, you're wondering, how do I get a hold of this? Well, first of all, I would say you need high level to use these things, right? So get into a high level account if you don't have a trial yet. But we'll make a resources folder available that's part of this masterclass, and our team will drop that link below as we get closer to finishing up here. So yeah, we'll make sure the resources folder is available to you, and within that folder, you'll have all these things from Michael directly. Okay.
Yeah, I see a lot of positive things in the chat. I guess
Yeah.
they like
Yep.
resources.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? That's a shortcut. You know what? I
Yeah.
mean, to put it together from scratch takes a lot of time. This is a
Yeah.
shortcut to success for sure.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't turn into excuses for you to launch, right? Like don't find yourself boggling in the folders and snapshots and all the stuff and not pick up the phone and dialing and telling people what you're working on. Because that's what matters more, is setting appointments and closing appointments.
The key point here is this number two. Honestly, you're a strategic partner. You're not a vendor. You're a doctor. You're not trying to become in as a sales guy. That's the key. When you start these calls, I'm a partner. I'm handling an issue here. So, a heart surgeon gets paid a lot of money. But if you go in for a routine checkup, it's not so expensive. So you're going to position yourself like, listen, I'm the best AI doctor on the planet, and I'm going to handle these issues that you're having. So, the other thing is you want predictable income, right? So that's the MMR that we've been talking about. So these are key things. I'm not going to read all the slides. Everyone here gets it. But so that's it. So I want, this is how we're going to end this. But basically, download the resources, study what I'm giving you. I'm going to give you the whole entire everything you need. Identify your first client, schedule an audit within 30 days, totally doable. Some people do this in a week, and then let's get it going. Let's implement it and take action. People that take action will be in a great position in 30 to 60 days. People that download it and let it sit on their desktop and don't do anything with it, you're going to be in the same position you are today. So it's going to require work. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Any business that you own is going to require work. This is going to require work. You're going to put in the work, you're going to get the reward, but that's how it works out.
Yeah, I love it. Can we do a commitment check with everyone that's watching, Michael? For those of you that have tracking along with everything Michael have said so far in this masterclass, and you're like, you know what, Paulson, this is making a lot of sense to me. I can go to a business owner and charge them fair, cost, whatever it is, whatever price, whether it's a retainer, a subscription, or one off, it doesn't matter, just to get your feet wet. If you're one of those and you're committing to take some action, in the comments, can you type in the word action, whether you're watching this on replay or later, maybe you're in a different time zone. But at the end of the day, I would love to know who's committed to kind of just launching. Because honestly, Michael, you and I know that it's not the system, it's not the business either. It's the entrepreneur that's usually the weakest point in every single operation, right? So if we're able to empower these entrepreneurs to be able to take action, I think, we're making an impact, honestly, with this masterclass.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, high level gives you the tools, right? 100%. You have everything there, no doubt. I use it every single day. I'm giving you the resources, right? So now you have the tools and resources. What's the missing link? The missing link is action. So you just summarize the whole masterclass in one word. So if you take action, you more than likely will have your first client. It's going to take work. I'm not promising you anything. It's definitely going to take some work, but at the end of it, you're going to have a successful business if you continue down that path.
I love it. Michael, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about how people can engage with you even more at a deeper level. I know you have your own events, you have your own community, you have a lot of cool things that's happening. Just to kind of understand how can they get involved with you in a bigger way?
So if you use the link that we're providing to sign up with High Level, you're in my community for free. That's number one. I have a community. We charge for it, but if you use my link, you're in for free. I'd rather you use my link and get it for free. I'd rather you not pay money out of pocket because you can use that money to do other things. That's number one. So save your money, use the link, sign up. Number two, my YouTube is amazing. Check it out. A lot of people love it. They find it very good. I hope just check it out. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but give it a shout. It's michaelreimer.ai. And then lastly, I'm always in the Facebook community. You should join the high level Facebook community. It's a tremendous resource. Even when I'm stuck, I will go there and search. That's my number one place I'll search. If I'm like, oh, is this possible? Somebody there. If it's doable, it's posted in there. So that would be your first choice. And then, I'm in there a lot. I post in there a lot, but you can also hit me up on DM on Facebook. That's not a problem. I'm very approachable. Sometimes it'll take me 24 hours to get back with you, but I will get back with you. So I don't mind it. I don't mind helping other people, and that's kind of why I'm here today. So it's been a pleasure, Paulson, honestly.
I love it. I was gonna say thank you so much for doing this masterclass. I think the community is gonna love this. And I know internally our team members or a lot of us are excited for, this masterclass as well. And we saw the preparation of all the content that you put together and the resources and everything. So it's been quite exciting for us to kind of launch this, as quick as we did.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, always. And I wish everyone success. And like I said, I'm here for you if you run into any snags or have questions or whatever. I'm not just like, do the masterclass, never hear from me again. So reach out anytime.
I love it. For those of you that are watching, in case if you're stuck or if you need any help, Remember, we have 24/7 Zoom support as well in our success rooms. And if you have any questions, please post in the community. Reach out to our community team as well. We're all here to help you. And, I'll tell you, as entrepreneurs, it's pretty easy to find yourself in a lonely journey because often, you go to a dinner and you're like, man, my family and friends don't understand what I'm doing online, right? Like it's very common to feel that way. So it's important to plug yourself into a entrepreneurial family in your journey. That's one of the things that I always share a lot about. But either way, Michael, thank you.
No, thank you.